Hey, storytelling Ron. I'm at the very top here. You can see me waving. The rest of this is paused. I'm really bummed out. We did not record audio. When I start the intros, I mute everything else because I get it all in one recording and I don't have to edit or anything, which obviously that's my channel. But I forgot to turn the audio, the sounds back on, and I guess I was just excited. We got a new player. The character name is Slasher, and we call her Grace. And she jumped in all the way from Australia, so that was a lot of fun. Oh man, I'm gonna go through real quick and just recap what happened. It was a great episode. We had so much fun, so much banter. Bringing her in was a lot of fun. And then it just such a bummer that I didn't get the audio recorded. But we're gonna do backup net this time. One of the guys is going to record the Zoom on his end just to have a backup because I have messed up audio. Of all the things I've messed up, that I've done a few times, for whatever reason, and audio is just one of those things. A curse, a bane. But man, this was a great episode. Just to toot my own horn here, a little biased, but anyway, so they're at Core 1, which is their second planet. There's gone a couple planets now here, and this is Christian sci-fi setting, and they managed to plant a church and starting to build it now, and the people are gathering, and they kind of had like a little, not revival, but a revival sense. So they had a little service like that, and so the people here at this, on this planet have, for the first time ever, heard the gospel, and this, the story setting, like 2500 AD, and they brought in new ministers who I'm playing very funny. Pastor Handy here, and he had some rainbow strobe lights going, and like, hey, we're gonna have I'm trying to make him kind of silly, like borderline charismatic or whatever. I don't really know that much about all that crazy stuff, but anyway, but yeah, I'm just kind of playing that, and they're all taking that pretty well, I guess. Anyway, Slasher, her character, she's playing like an inventor. She's got claws, like she wants to fight rascally, but I'm personally just saying this as the GM and the creator of this game. I'm going to veer her towards being a woman in the game. I mean, she can have the little fighty stuff, but I want her to play a woman. Like she's going to realize. I know she knows the game. So, but just to let you all know, as you have women play these games, they're going to realize, oh, I can't run up and just fight like the men are. I mean, the men running up and fighting is difficult enough. Women, don't have the same vitality. They don't have the same strength. They don't have the same whatever. So they're going to have to figure other ways they're going to have to figure out women ways to do things, to accomplish things. That's what I want, because the most games obviously are erasing what women do and how they handle things. They just want you to act like a man. And to me, that is not equality. That is BS. And that's a lie. It's a pagan lie. And boy, here I am recapping, and all I'm doing is ranting. Okay. Let me just do the recap then and try to stick with that. Okay, so they're at this village. They're doing this. They're getting introduced to her. A lot of silly, fun banter. I played it so that the village wants to move her off to them, and take her. Yeah, take her away. Go, And like Tim says, Tim with an H says, the other end of the galaxy is really nice this time of year. Yeah, take her. And it was funny, and we all kind of cracking up, and I got her cracking up about it. And her playing her role, and she does like a Russian accent or something, like a Slavic accent. It's kind of amusing, her little style. And I even have like Atreyu, I think that's how I pronounce his name. This character is Atreyu. He was in the village as well as a new convert, and the missionaries asked him, "Oh, what, do you know Slasher?" And then I said, "Well, he did everything he could to avoid her." So, kind of a thing. Anyway, so they're getting together. They're spend some glory points here. I think they spent a little bit, I'm not sure, but they're at a church now. They're building this place up, and they're trying to decide what to do next. And I'm trying to throw different sort of plots and things at them. They got a message from the Pastor Scott from the original planet, that Planet Flotsam, that they had delivered some stuff to, because the last episode they had a Star Crusader one shot where they fought some Dreadbots and beat them, and so the Star Crusaders sent all that stuff to Pastor Scott, who then sent it over to Hydros Group to give to these guys. And so Hydros Group was holding on to that for them and ready to make a trade deal with them. And so that was one thing. And the other thing is they could, there's slave caravans still in this area that because slavery is totally fine with pagans. And it has been since before 1619 project, and after 1619, since 2 to 3, 4,000 years before 1619, the Arabs and the Africans were having massive slavery and still did. And then after 1619, they still have it, and they're rebuilding that slavery even today. So let's get that complaining going by BLM and everyone else as I begin another rant. Okay, so there's that. They got to deal with slavery. Maybe they got to deal with going to hydroscoop. The Pastor Scott also admitted that the mining consortium has returned to Planet Blossom, where they're trying to build the first church and spreading the gospel there. But the mining consortium has now returned. It's a big planet, so they've got their own little space at the moment, but it's sort of like a concern, and they're like a mini empire type thing, and they're going to start enslaving the people there and building, reopening the mines and stuff. So that's a nice little buildup of, tension that they could deal with or not deal with. I don't want them to have to feel like they got to stay at Planet Blossom with so much could happen on that planet. Like, it's funny, that one planet could have so much adventure, but, I want them to go spacefaring or whatever, traveling around and experiencing new locations, because I have plenty now. I've finished my I finished the Kickstarter. I'm in the printing phase right now, getting that all set up and then doing a print test. But I have a lot, like 20 planets with different locations and cultures and stuff that they can go and adventure ideas and all the assets that the potential assets that they could use for them as well as tokens and printables. I gotta get that all put together and ready to upload or sell. So they spent quite a bit of time here just thinking and figuring out things, and it was just so amusing. Look at this. See, we've been here we're here like 20 minutes in, and they're still just doing stuff. Finally, they're going to go to the shuttle, and they've chosen to go to Hydroscoop to get that stuff and to get the stuff and see what's going on there. So let's see. I think that's what we got going on here. I mean, I miss so much, as far as the banter and stuff and them going back and forth on what to do. But here they have the shuttle. I really love they made them all walk to it, and so I gave them a glory point. And of course Slasher, she we're gonna fly in that thing, so that was cool. She did, add a little character to her thing. Everyone here is great players. They're really they're focused. They're paying attention. Really appreciate that for them. So now they're at Hydroscoop, and so this is just a weird technical thing where and this is the thing GMs have to do, especially when you're recording. It's just tough, man, because in Foundry you can I make a map and then I duplicate it to then have for the players to go in and do things, and I add notes to the duplicate one. I keep an original that just to have as an original with no untouched. For some reason I don't know when or how it happened, but my duplicate was an exact copy of my original, and I don't know where the one is that they had been going through. I must have somehow in my organizations messed that up, and right in the middle of recording, it's very draining to when you find mistakes like that, because I had lost some information. I mean, I remembered it, but I had lost it. But I had to re-type some stuff in while we're playing. I mean, it's kind of amazing how much multitasking you got to do as a GM, especially when you're recording stuff. I mean, when you're just at a table, it's still plenty to deal with, but man. In the digital age is tough. It's really great that you can undo stuff and redo stuff, but it's really tough when you lose stuff, for some reason on the digital side. But anyway, so they landed there. They got the VIP treatment though, because they got the 5 Dreadbots were delivered, because the Star Crusaders beat the Dreadbots. So this guy was holding on to 5 Dreadbots and a few other things, and he had a VIP list, a shopping list, for them to check out. And so they're landing there, and they're all, oh wow, so I get the VIP landing area, and then I made this character Miriam X, just hey, come on in, you're VIP, so that was very amusing. And then they went to talk to Figo, and Figo, just to cut short to it, a lot of fun stuff was going on there, what they're going to do, but he gave him a hard time, and he wants the Dreadbots. Here are the Dreadbots, and they're dead. I mean, but they were delivered as such, and I gave him a list of stuff, and the list was pretty wordy. Like I do appreciate that they didn't want to read it, so I had to, I quickly went over it all with them, the list of cool things that they were on there, and that's just something to be aware of. I gotta not throw so much stuff at them, it's in the game. I gotta I definitely want to have I don't have in the as far as a product like a list of just tech, like any kind of thing. But any kind of tech is basically adding something to their stats. But I want to when you want to add something to their giving them die ranks is the simplest. You also want to have a negative thing, like it's heavy or it'll burn out or whatever. You kind of want to always make sure that even though they get a bonus, there's a little negative. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes, some of the greater stuff, you want to kind of keep a balance like that. Anyway, so they're arguing with him, and let me see. He puts them up here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, they're at the bar, but he has them go to the bar, and they want to talk and think about it. Heel has a hilarious nat 1 and a 1 die rank roll with his drink, so he gets his burning sloshing drink. Or he was trying to. I had him roll that because I wanted him to come up, know with the robot thing. He has a robot skill, like upgrades or whatever, and I wanted him to know that these, the damage of the dreadbots and like what he's going to do with them. But anyway, that was amusing, and they're still talking there about everything they're going to do or what they're going. Especially about what they're going to buy, like the VIP list. Because Figo says he wants the 5 dreadbots no matter what. So he's very adamant. He'll trade them whatever on the VIP list. And they're trying to just figure out what they're going to get and from that. And then not. And they want the dreadbots too because they want to take them back to the church and make security bots out of them. And I had to make sure they understood that the dreadbots were pretty damaged. And then Nick showed up. So that was, he came in because he was doing some family stuff. And so so that was cool. But they're still in the middle of something here, so of course Nick comes up to the saloon. He was sleeping on the shuttle, so he woke up and I got him over there. Then finally they sort of decided to do something, but Figo here is fighting over it. He wants the dreadbots as a display, as a like, I'm cool and this is a cool, he's a criminal guy, this is his reputation thing. And I really pushed that, and then they were pushing that they want to keep some or just give him one. And it got really tense, and I was even me, Ron, was getting like, what are they, give me the 5. Give him the fist, give him the 5. And they're like, no, we want to hold on. And going on and on and on. I finally said, all right, we're going to roll, And then, of course, Figo rolled a nat 20, like 35. And they had to beat that, and they couldn't. And so I was like, all right, you got to give me the 5 or I'll kick you out, it was like, no more moving. And they finally said, we'll give him the 5. What does he give us? And I said, you know what? And they said, you know what? Let's just have him give us everything then. And then Nick brought up, let's have a church on the base. That he has to give us a church, like that we can establish a church. And to cut to the chase, it took a while for them to finally just do that. And he said, yeah, okay, done. So that was cool. I was, because he was not going to give. Figo's thing was he was not going to give the robots. And I just wanted them, he was willing to give them anything. So he gave them all of the stuff on the VIP list. And many of it was like 5 of these, 5 of that, 10 of that, The VIP list had some cool missiles, well, here, I guess I'll give you the rundown of that. Just for the fun of it. Yeah. Let me do that right now. Where is it? Let me open up my Foundry because I am going to do some stuff in here in a sec. And it is let's see here. Where's the list? Okay, so the list is decoy deck, trade 50 low tech and 10 high tech. So that's expensive. But they got it because they give him 5 dreadbots. He really wanted those dreadbots as his display. So the decoy deck hides ship from long-range scanners, helps with escape, plus 3 die rings versus calming scans, works only if ship is silent. Okay, so basically when they turn the ship off and park it, this will make it even more cloaked, as long as it's not running anything. So it's for non-combat stuff. Intercessor missiles, 15 low tech, 5 high tech, 5 of those. Damage 2d12. That's the same as regular missiles. But it's got a 2 die rank for smart, which means if you roll a d6, 2 die ranks, that's how many times it can try to hit, or that's the bonus to hit and tries to, over and over as it's tracking a ship. Oh, the music's going. Let me pause that. AP 4, so armor piercing 4, and if a 20 or above result is on the to hit, it hits the drives of the target. So it's actually trying to take out the drives of any ship. So that's 5 of those intercessor missiles. Improved rockets, they get 10 of those. It's just +1 DR to hit, or AP 2, armor piercing 2. Those are like cheaper rockets. Countermeasure decoy pod, 50 low tech or 5 high tech times 5. Countermeasure decoy pod is they can just shoot that out. It lasts 1 encounter. They got 5 of those, and it gives them a +5 die ranks or D12 to the defense of the ship. EMP coil, use 1. It's like a grenade. Short range, desperate bid to escape dreadbots. All electronics shut down for D6 turns. Blast D8, so get up to D8 in the area. But they do get to resist. Pro 12 for them. Can be upgraded with high-tech part. I should probably change that, though, because Pro 12 is not very high, because they have like a really high Pro. So let me change that to a... They get to resist? I'm going to say they don't get to resist. Because... well, if they add a high-tech part to it, so that makes it a little more expensive, then the duress can be increased. So maybe I will keep it. So if they add because I put here, it's a prowess 12 for the resist, and most of those dreadbots have like a +5 or plus. Let me see here. Like the big guy has a pro 6, so he's gonna always. So they would have to add some high-tech parts to it to make it stronger, which would increase the 12 to a higher number. Like say if they add 2 high-tech parts, that's 2 D6. I mean D6, sorry. It's die rank 1, die rank 2, die rank 3. So 2 parts is 2 die ranks, which is a D6. So they roll that, and that adds to the 12. So they could do that. Yeah, 1 die rank per part if they... so I'll make sure they understand that. I'm going to make sure I understand that. Okay, the Robo Welder is just like a big... They thought it was like a robot welder, which no. What I meant was it was a... it's like a welder on your back that kind of does what you want, but it controls itself, but it's just sitting there on your back as a backpack or whatever, and or you put it down and it's like a it's like a powered welder that you hold, and it has some sort of gyro control and stuff. That's kind of what it's meant. But it opens doors and closes, and you can seal doors, kind of a thing. So it's handy. Hot shots. So hot shots it adds 1 +1 die rank energy to damage, and actually I'm going to give him more than 10. Give him I'm going to do 15. Okay, it burns out though on a nat 1 or 2, and minus 1 die rank to the weapon. Kind of burns the weapon up, so they got to repair that. Med shot is basically like a heal potion, but a really quick one. It does 1 die rank vitality, so D4, so it's very light. But you can add 3 shots, and it's a D8. 3 die ranks. And med jab is it actually gets rid of grievous wounds, and it takes a few Trilla cycles. Which I'm playing off of cycles, all different kinds of cycles, being silly here. But basically, it just takes it. You can't just do it immediately. It takes like outside of combat kind of thing. It doesn't. It takes a little bit to actually heal up, but they have that, and up to 5 is light, so you can carry up to 5. And it's just considered a light item. 5 of them are up, So there's that, and I should make it so. Let me see. There's 6 of them. So 6. I'm gonna make it actually break down. So 6 of them times 3 is 18. So 18. Just so they have them. And then 6 of them times 5 is 30. And that's it. Okay. So those are the items. They're like, whoa. So they got all that. And then also they get to plan a church, but they have to bring in their own module to attach to the station. They don't get, there's no room on the station for any expansion. They have to bring something. So there's that. So then they said, okay, we figured that out. Then they went to talk to Old Noodler. That was kind of neat. Man, I know this. I wish I would have recorded this because Titan Fitz, it was very, very humorous. Titan Fitz came in and gave him a cot. He actually brought a cot for him. And then Slasher, she came in and ordered his worm noodles and burnt water, and which is and just a lot of funny banter, and she resisted it and was able to eat it without getting sick. But worm noodles is he basically gathers all the vermin and cockroaches and bugs around him, and cooks them up. And burnt water is him scraping off the carbon score, whatever on the metal, burnt metals, and putting that in water. That's the kind of food and desperation the people here at Hydroscoop have, at least the ones that are neglected and in their own little booths. Anyway, so he gave him a cot, and he can sleep on a cot now because he sleeps right in the booth. And so they basically converted him. He's willing and wanting to know about the church and when they come and bring it. And so he also gave them information about the mining consortium, that's returning to Planet Flotsam at the first church. So yeah, the first church I rolled, and that actually came up in the rolls when I rolled their security and their health. Now they have really high health and really high security, but I rolled a 3. I rolled 2. They have 2d12, keep the highest roll for security, and I rolled a 2 and a 3. So they had a 3, and so something bad was happening. They weren't attacked or anything, but looming threat is what I rolled. Looming threat on the list of the church things. And so I had to think of a looming threat, and I knew that the mining consortium was something that I had in the back of my mind as far as a storyline. And so I said, well, I guess it's time. And they took some health damage from it, but they have such a high health damage that it's not affecting them. They're just stressed out about it, that kind of thing. And so they're concerned that the mining consortium is going to come in and start enslaving all the togas and then go after the church, because the church is the antithesis to pagan type businesses. Okay, so that use slavery. Okay, so they kind of so he gave them a bit of info on that, but he's definitely excited about them coming here. So then I said, you know what? I want them to feel the freedom of deciding where to go themselves. I don't want this to be a railroad, because this is space, but I want to give them options. Where do they want to go? I mean, if they really want to fly off somewhere else, that's their prerogative. But of course, they feel like they have things they got to do. So they're right now at Hydroscoop Station, which is at the Wolf Star, Wolf 106C1, and then Sulaco's there, and the Raptorine is there, and they need to go back to Planet Flotsam here at Bernard Star, and get that unit to bring back to Hydroscoop to start the church there. So they're now literally gotten 2 churches started, within a couple episodes, whereas it took them 30 or 40 episodes to start one church at Raptorine. But now they got 2, and I'm like, whoa! I did not expect them to do the Hydroscope one, but the opportunity was there, and I felt like with Figo and the Dreadbots, he really wanted those Dreadbots, so he was willing to give him anything. And I didn't tell him that, but until they finally just conceded to him. If they would have conceded at any point in the line, I would have had Figo just be so happy and didn't care, because that's what he wanted. Anyway, so yeah, now I asked them, where do you want to go? So I literally had this map up and said, do you want to go here? You want to go there? And I because of my Kickstarter, I have opened up. I have finished. Let me see if I've got a bigger. Yeah, I've created all these things in this area, like in Wolf here, all these 3 stars here, the Mutant Marauders. I've got some Biodread in the book. They're up in the top left. They're kind of everywhere in the fringes, of the galaxy. And this is I guess you could say, a very small area, as far as say versus Star Wars or anything, but there's plenty to do, and every planet can have so much going on, and different factions in every planet kind of thing. And I made every star system has some sort of terraformed, thing going on as far as what I've gotten so far. And that we're 30, 40 episodes in, and this is a continuation of the 20 or 30 episodes I had before that was playtesting from a different group, and so I'm still, plenty of stuff to do here. Leyland is one I'm kind of intrigued that they go to. There's quite a bit of higher corporate, more high-end kind of stuff happening there. And the Mutant Marauders are scary, I hope. And I love this system. And I actually had, I'm going to go back a little bit, but James here playing Atreyu is, he doesn't know the system yet necessarily. And he doesn't understand the diring system. So there was a period here where I had explained it, or I wanted to explain it. I just want to see if I show the chart again. It's here somewhere. I popped it up. I mean, it was pretty quick. So, but I just want to go through it again just to explain to you guys. And I did show them the trade hub again, so they could go over and decide, do they want to go here? And there's things going on here. The Slockway imports, the gladiator arenas. They know that there's slavery, you know, with the slave caravans. They know there's other people here that are good that they can kind of work with. So that's something they're trying to figure out they want to do, or how do they go about doing that. But let me see if the die ring. Where's the die ring? I had the. Oh, there's the rainbow lights the guy has on the tent, the cross. Look at this! I got lights going. We're gonna have a show, music show. You know, Pastor Handy is like, oh boy, they're like you know. And I want to show Christianity in that sense too, like that. We Christians, man, we plenty of arguing and miscues and you know, people doing things not the way other Christians want them to do it, kind of thing. There's a lot of that going on. All right, I don't have it here, but I can't find it. But I want to discuss this just because I really, really love doing this now as a GM of 40 years, or maybe I'm biased, I don't know. But I have a system here where the die ring system, and I really love the die ring system because it does a couple of things. Let me zoom in on the die ring thing here, and I'll pop this image up just to show them. But it's really just divide by 5. You know, if you have 10 die rings, you divide by 5. That's 2, so it's 2 d12s, and you roll the 2 d12s and keep the highest. Okay, that's how this works. So what are die rings? Die rings are everything that you add to your roll. Like your skill, right? You have 4 die ranks in shooting, or say to hit. You've got the high ground. I'll give you another die rank for that. Your buddy, you know, your chaplain's going to bless you with some die ranks. And right, he gives you 4 die ranks there. So you got 9 die ranks. As a GM, I can describe things like, oh, the guy you're targeting doesn't even know you're hitting him. So I'm going to give you a die rank for that. 10 die ranks, you know. What else? Oh, he's just standing there. He's not even moving. You know what? He doesn't know you're shooting at him, and he's just standing there. He's not even moving. So I'm gonna give you 2 die rings. So 11 die rings. I could go on. And I love that as a GM, I really like that because I can just start describing things, and then each one is a die rank, you know, and give it to them. Or if it's a difficulty, I can do that the opposite direction. Like, I want to climb that cliff wall. I'm like, oh, so as a GM in the past, I would go, is that, you know, for Dungeons & Dragons, I have to decide a difficulty class. Is it 14? Is it a 16? Is it an 18? You know, and I would just think of it that way. And I did never like that. So this way, if they goes, oh, I want to climb that cliff, I'm like, okay, well, it's wet. That's a die rank. It's raining out. That's 2 die ranks. You know, it's raining out and it's wet. There's 2 die ranks. Water is splashing down that cliff. That's another die rank. It is really sheer and hard and, you know, 4 die ranks. You know, I can, when I try to it really encourages me to describe things, because when I do that, it really encourages me to then get die ranks of difficulty. So let's just say those 4, right? No, I'm going to say 5 because it's really far. You got a long ways to go. So I just added a die rank for each one. So that's 5, right? So that's a D12. 5 die ranks is D12. You can see here. Because, you know, the die ranks are D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. Using all the die ranks, not the D20, just those 5. And then what I do is everything is a 12, right? 12 is the default to beat roll. So I've got 5 die ranks of difficulty to get this cliff. I'm going to roll it. I'm going to roll a D12 and I get a 9. So add 9 to 12 is 21. It's a 21, you know, you got to beat 21 to climb up this thing. Oh, you know, so now if they roll below 21, which I'm assuming they will, but see, they're now going to figure out all these things to give themselves die ranks, okay, you know, to then get up high. And if they fail, I don't necessarily have them fall or anything, but it's usually like a delay. It takes them forever, or I might have them take some vitality because they're getting exhausted, you know, that kind of stuff. I'll only have them fall if they roll an at 1, and they roll nat 1s quite a bit, so I'm not concerned about, you know, not getting enough of those out of the 1 out of 20 kind of thing. So die ranks are great because you can just add as many as you want and see how it goes to 15. It can go even higher, but let's say it's 14 die ranks. That's a D12, D12, D10, right? And I have this cool little thing I did here where I changed the, you can't really see it that well. This doesn't matter right now. But anyway, let's say I have it's D12 and then a D10, and I'm going to roll it, and it keeps the highest. So a 6. See, so what I like about this is that even when they get up high on these die ranks and get all these dice, they can still fail. It's hilarious. They can still fail. So that's a 6. Let's say he rolls a D20 for his normal roll. 14. So 20, he rolled a 20 plus his trait, which is a 3, 23. So he rolled a 23. So he definitely succeeded in climbing or whatever it is. But he could have rolled a 3 here, and the 6 is a 9 plus 3 is, so he would have failed. See, I love that even as you get up in die ranks, it doesn't kill the game. You know, it doesn't kill, you don't become a superhero as you get more and more die ranks. You still have a chance of failing. You have a great chance of succeeding too. I just, it's, whatever the math and graphs of this are, I love this because I, as a GM, I'm not concerned when they get more and more die ranks and things. I like it. They could have potential now for something greater, but they can still fail. It doesn't feel like they're always going to succeed at everything. It's not like in D&D where, now we have a plus 15 to every roll, or whatever they're figured out with their magic and bonuses. So in here, when you get like magic items or whatever it is, well crafted or well aimed or whatever, you get die ranks, and thusly you're never going to get too powerful. And I can make things go up higher and higher. I can decide, to make it a specific number, but I really like doing die ranks and rolling it that way to decide on things, because I don't have to then decide the number. I just describe things, and each thing I describe is another die rank. And another, just to remind you too, that you don't, if they have penalties to their die ranks, like they're wounded or, whatever, they don't use that die rank. You use it as a GM on your side for the difficulty of something. You're in pain, minus 3 DR, so I'm going to add that on my side to the climbing the wall. So I get plus 3 die ranks more, or to hit someone. You're shooting them, but you're wounded by 3 die ranks. So I'm going to take that and add it to, roll D8 and add it to their defense because you're having a hard time aiming, So again, that I really like that because and if they're wounded like that and have that penalty of 3 die ranks, they're not concerned about it when they're doing their game mechanics and they're rolling. Just you, the GM, are use it, and you only use it like once per turn on one thing. And if you forget, that's not a big deal either. So that's up to you as the GM. And I really like to, like I said again, I really like that I don't have to decide the difficulty of something. I just describe it, and each one is a die rank or 2. That's kind of where I describe it. But that in that way, it's really nice because it's I'm explaining what each difficulty is, right? And when I roll the number, I could roll a 1. So they, the cliff wall, I could have rolled a 1 there, and the difficulty could just been a 13. Oh well, okay, it's wet and rainy and all, but not that much. It's a light drizzle, and the rain is, so you know what I mean. I could do it that way too. I mean, that happens as well, and I like that. I like that because I don't decide it. I let the dice decide the difficulty of something. So in the end here, and just to move quickly ahead, I'm like, okay, where do you guys want to go? What are we doing next? I want them to decide, so I can prep things and stuff. So they've decided they're going to go back to Planet Flotsam, get the church unit or the workshop unit, bring it to Hydroscoop to install it here so they can start a church here. Whoa. So they got some glory points for just that. They didn't get the full 3. I gave them a 2 for their handling of the situation, plus that they actually got the yes to do a church plan here, which is crazy. I think problems going to rise out of it because Hydroscoop is basically a bunch of brigands, pirates. But we'll save that for another day. That'll be amusing. I think I don't know, but we'll see. And I don't think like the church would be attacked, but they'd probably be ignored or begrudgingly, whatever, threatened and whatever. But nothing anyway. Whatever. What's funny is that Nick brought up, let's go get it and escort it back in case we get attacked. And then Luis Taina was like, no, you just gave Ron an idea. And I said at the end there, yeah, I'm like an AI. I don't come up with anything, but if you guys can give me ideas, I will incorporate that into the plots. Thank you for that, Nick. And Nick's all, So that was a funny ending there. And we obviously thank Grace for coming. We really appreciated her jumping in. She was and Grace, I don't know if you're gonna watch this, but I really appreciate. I think you are, because you seem to know a lot about our games. So she brought up a lot of stuff about the game. So I think she's watching the show, this silly little show. And I'm gonna work on some stuff with her for sure now that I know she's in it, and hopefully she'll be in it. Grace, thank you for coming. I hope you'll be in it. And I'm gonna look at your stuff too now and really translate it. For this and for you, for your character, for sure. As an inventor, I look forward to seeing if you can do some stuff, and we'll get that going. Yeah, so that was this episode. Very sad I didn't record it. Fitz there said he's gonna on Zoom. He's gonna record it on his end just in case I ever do have a problem. Because I don't want to. I don't know if I can. I'm assuming I could record it on my end, but I'm recording. I'm recording the OBS. I'm doing so much on my end. I don't know if my. I don't want to overload my computer. Although I think I could handle it, but I'll see if he can do it. I might even do it on my end just to see if I can do it. And actually, I probably will for some of the other ones I do, just because I think I need to just do that from now on, just to be sure. Anyway, yeah, it was a great episode. I'm really hoping all of them can, be in this for a while. They're all really good. They're all engaged, and so that's kind of the kind of players I want. Just to let you know about that. So yeah, that's it then. That's it for this episode. And that's episode 17. I had to do a recap since there's no audio. That's a bummer. Yeah, they'll be moving on to the next. It's the next few weeks of July and the summer here, June, July. There's a lot of us doing different things. I got a homeschool convention and there's other stuff, so we're going to be missing some. It's going to be very scattered throughout the summer. I think on Thursdays, but we're doing stuff. I'm doing stuff, ministry stuff. This is a ministry for me, by the way, so I hope you guys start your own games and turn it into a ministry, because we're preaching the word in the game. I mean, I'm not trying to do legalism here. I'm trying to show Christians that, hey, you got to go out and do stuff. Wrong or right, good or bad, quality or not quality. You got to be ready. You got to fellowship. You got to hone it, get it together. We're having fun, obviously. But we're understanding evangelism and church planning and in a simplistic way, but it's drills, just like basketball, just like anything. You got to drill, and that's what I want this game to be, is about drilling, because we have been spending way too much time drilling on paganism in D&D and all these other role-playing games. We have been drilling paganism into our minds as RPG players, and we're Christians, and I want to stop that and start us drilling evangelism. We role play, we have fun, we do silly adventures. They get to fight things, even bad guys, but we drill in the concept of Christianity, which is evangelism and planting churches. And I am proving it is doable in an RPG, and it should be. And all that medieval stuff was always about that. All medieval stuff where fantasy comes from is about the church spreading across Europe, creating this culture. And all of the medieval fantasy that we know comes from Christians who have written down stories and books during this time, during the Renaissance and the Age of Reason, where they started writing stories based off of the struggle between pagans and Christianity, and creating wonderful stories and romantic stories and stories of chivalry that we use today. But the pagans have co-opted it as their own and have erased Christianity, and we Christians have sort of, it's fantasy. We should remove ourselves, because they call it fantasy, and it's fantasy, and we shouldn't have Christianity. I disagree with that. We should have Christianity everywhere, all the time, because it's a joy. It's a joyful joy, and I enjoy it. And I'm trying to show you guys that it can be so joyful and fun. And you got dreadbots, I've got killer robots, I got space killer bugs, I've got alien-like, genetically modified humans that are now deformed mutant aliens, all kinds that make way more sense than anything in Star Wars or Star Trek, because these guys, what do you know? When you genetically modify a human, they're going to be bipedal, they're going to be carbon based, they're going to be able to understand you and talk to you and have the same mental capacity as you. That's exactly what we see in Star Wars and Star Trek with all the aliens. Well, I got them in space. I got them but they all make sense because they all been genetically modified from humans. So. But I get everything they get, and we Christians get more. And I'm trying to show you that that's what we get. We get everything. We get the cake. We get to have our cake and eat it too. We get to have the cake and eat it too. We get to have RPGs and ministry and aliens and killer robots and spaceships and planets with different weird things on it, and mutated creatures that are planted on the planets to flourish there under terraforming factories. So. We get it, and we don't have to, do some squirming, wiggling to figure out how to have that fun and joy of sci-fi and fantasy by changing the Bible or anything like that. We don't have to do that. We get it. So this game is for you guys if out there are Christian RPGers who want to do sci-fi and you want the aliens and you want the, and I got, you know, crazy scary things out there, the Dominators that are searching, you know, hunters of that have cyborg powers and telekinesis, and they, you know, they're gonna, you know, oh, don't tell the players that. Players, erase that from your mind. Anyway, so that's it. What a show. I really had a great time. You know, feeling good today. You know, obviously mixed emotions because I didn't record it, but really great because of the potential of shows in the future. Anyway, all right. In the game of life, everyone, we got to roll holy dice. Got to roll holy dice, man. I mean, look at the world. You know, I'm trying to rant less videos, but you know, the world is the world. I got to like do some rants. It kind of sucks. But anyway, all right. Game of life. Roll holy dice.